Have you ever felt like you're just pushing a boulder uphill in your career? I mean, you're putting in the hours, you're doing all the work, but that next level, it just feels completely out of reach. Well, today, we're going to tear that feeling apart. We're going to build a clear, actionable blueprint for excellence, and we'll do it by combining two really powerful ideas. First, mastering the game inside your own head, and second, mastering how you actually communicate all that value to the world.
And this right here, this is our starting reality check. You know, we're constantly told to just want it more, to hustle harder, but this quote gets to a much deeper truth. Sheer willpower isn't always the answer. Pushing against a door that's locked for you just leads to burnout. So the real question isn't about how to push harder.
Exactly. What is? The top 1%, they don't just outwork everyone. They work with more intelligence and, frankly, more self-awareness. They operate on this two-part framework. First, they get brutally honest about their inner game, their biology, their mindset, their non-negotiable traits. Then, and only then, do they focus on the outer game, expressing that internal value with real clarity and confidence.
All right, so before you can win out there in the world, you have to win inside yourself. This is all about understanding the raw materials you're working with. And probably the biggest myth we need to bust right now is that you can fix anything with enough effort. That leads us to a truly game-changing concept. It's called anti-talent. Now, this isn't just a weakness. It's a core trait that is fundamentally resistant to improvement. High performers, they don't waste decades trying to turn their anti-talents into strengths. No way. Instead, they identify them, they accept them, and then they brilliantly engineer their entire careers around them.
So what's the difference here? Well, a weakness is just a skill gap, right? You can close it with practice. But an anti-talent, that's baked into your wiring. Think about Keanu Reeves. Early in his career, he got a lot of criticism for his stiffness in these dramatic, dialogue-heavy roles. Deep emotional range was probably his anti-talent. So did he try to become the next Daniel Day-Lewis? Nope. He engineered around it. He leaned into his actual talents, incredible physicality, precision, and that stoic, zen-like presence. And the result? He became Neo and John Wick, iconic roles built entirely on his strengths, not his anti-talents.
So how do you find yours? Well, you can start with these three questions. First, what absolutely drains you but seems to energize other people? Second, what have you been working on for years with just painfully little improvement? And third, what do people consistently compliment you on that you never really had to work on? Now, those first two questions, they point straight to your anti-talents, the areas you should probably manage or delegate. But that third question, that's pure gold. That's your innate talent. That's the path of least resistance to excellence. That is where you double down.
Okay, on to the second pillar of the inner game, your biological balance sheet. The key thing to get here is this. Your brain runs on chemistry, not on motivational quotes. Your physical state, your sleep, your nutrition, your stress levels, it isn't separate from your thinking. It is your thinking.
And this chart, this illustrates the point with terrifying clarity. Researchers analyzed over 1,000 parole hearings, and the results were just staggering. A prisoner's fate had less to do with the facts of their case and more to do with the time of day. Just before lunch, when the judge's blood sugar was low, the approval rate dropped to nearly zero. They were biologically primed to make the safe default choice, no. Then, right after lunch, once their glucose was back up, the approval rate shot right back up to 65%. Your biology is making decisions for you. So, knowing this, how do we manage our inner state? Well, here's a simple, really powerful tool. It's a protocol for creating what neuroscientists call virtuoso silence between tasks. So, when you switch contexts, first, fully stop. Close the tabs, put the file away, don't leave any cognitive residue. Second, physically drop the tension. Unclench your jaw, drop your shoulders, take one deep cleansing breath. And third, swap your mindset with a trigger, a specific song, a mantra, a physical object. It's like a mental reset button to make sure you show up to your next task fully present.
Okay, so now that we've laid that solid internal foundation, let's look at how to communicate it effectively. This is the bridge between your internal value and your external impact. And it's where so many brilliant people stumble. They have the goods, but they just can't get the message across. And here's the fundamental challenge we're all up against. Our brains are not passive tape recorders. They are aggressive prediction machines. As you listen to me right now, your brain is constantly guessing what I'm going to say next, filling in meaning before the sentence is even done. It's why when Jimi Hendrix sang, "Excuse me while I kiss the sky," millions of people confidently heard, "Excuse me while I kiss the sky." Our brain hears what it expects to hear, not always what's actually said.
What this means is that every single message you send gets filtered through 4 layers of potential distortion. First, there's the brilliant idea in your head. Then there are the words you actually manage to say. Then, what their brain physically registers. And finally, the meaning they assign it at all, colored by their own biases and experiences. So what you meant is almost never what they remember.
So how do we cut through all that distortion? We start by choosing the right channel. Critical context like your tone and your intent, it just gets vaporized in a text or an email. The CPR framework is your guide. If the topic has high complexity, high pressure, or requires a real-time response, it needs a real conversation. I mean, trying to deliver nuanced feedback over Slack is like performing surgery with a sledgehammer. It's just not going to work.
But what about those real-time, high-stakes moments? You're in a big meeting, a tough question comes your way, and you feel it. Your heart starts pounding, your mind goes completely blank. That's panic. It's your emotional brain hijacking your thinking brain. You're not thinking anymore, you're just surviving. But you can take back control.
This is the ART of the answer. Think of it as a life raft in a sea of panic. Instead of rambling, you just follow 3 simple steps. First, answer the question directly and concisely. Give them the headline right away. Second, reveal the story behind it. This is where you add your color, your reasoning, your why. And finally, tie it back to the original question to signal you're done. You took off, you flew the plane, and now you've landed it. It's a structure that projects pure confidence.
And let's be crystal clear. This is not about being perfect. The person who created this framework tells a story about completely freezing on a client call and just hanging up. That's what panic does. But he took a breath, he called back, apologized, and fixed it. So the crucial point is this. High performance is not the absence of panic. It's about having a system to recover gracefully when it inevitably strikes. It's all about resilience.
Okay, so let's bring this all home. We've worked on the inner game, understanding our anti-talents in our biology. We've worked on the outer game, structuring our communication for real clarity. So now, how do we integrate this blueprint to create real, lasting impact and connection?
First, we have to adopt a new mindset. Mastering your inner and outer game doesn't mean success just shows up on your doorstep tomorrow. Life doesn't work that way. Your job isn't to be successful. Your job is to be skillful, to master your craft, manage your energy, and show up ready. The opportunities? They will arrive on their own schedule. Your only task is to be prepared when they do.
And when those opportunities come, when it's your moment to communicate something that truly matters, it's really easy to think you need complex words and elaborate arguments. But the most profound connections are often forged with the simplest clarity. In fact, one of the most powerful messages in modern history boiled down to just 4 words.
That's it. We remember Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. for those 4 words. Not a complex policy proposal, not academic jargon. 4 words. And why? Because they were the ultimate expression of a mastered inner and outer game. The inner conviction was unshakable, and the outer expression was so pure and so clear it could literally move a nation. That's the goal, clarity that connects. And this brings us to the final and maybe the most important piece of the blueprint. The single most powerful communication tool you possess isn't a framework or a technique. It's your undivided attention. It's the ultimate bridge between your inner world and theirs. Think about it. When someone is speaking to you, do you close your laptop? Do you turn your phone face down? Giving another person the gift of your full presence is the most generous and connecting act there is.
Because ultimately, that's what this blueprint is for. It's not just some academic exercise, it's preparation for the moments that define our lives and careers. The very next conversation you have with your boss, your partner, your team, it could be the one that changes everything, for you or for them. So the only question left is, are you ready?